Hello everyone, hope you're all having a great week. My name is Drew, the host of Never Behind. Today I will be sharing the second half of the interview with Jim Rogers. Now, if you haven't watched part 1 of the interview, I highly recommend that you check it out, since Jim has shared great insights that I am sure you will find helpful when investing in a market like the one that we have today. Now, before we get into the interview, I wanted to share that Seeking Alpha is having a great promotion, providing the premium service with a 20% discount. I have also uploaded an interview with the founder of Seeking Alpha's quant system, showing how he uses the Seeking Alpha platform step by step in order to find the best stocks that are set up to soar. So if you are interested in Seeking Alpha, please make sure you check the video on how to use the platform to find great companies, and also make sure you use the link in the description below in order to get that 20% discount. Since the market is in a new all-time high, there is a lot of stocks that are actually in their new all-time highs as well. But I think there is always a possibility of a huge market pullback, if not a market crash. But for an investor like you, do you use stop losses just in case to protect your losses? Or do you usually dollar cost average in whenever there is a pullback or the stocks you invested in goes against you?
I know people, smart people who use stop losses. I never have. I wish I had many times, and maybe I should learn. I know that stop losses, no stop losses are good for some people, but I do not use them. Everybody has to find their own way. I have my own way of making mistakes. Don't worry. I don't have an answer, but many smart people use stop losses successfully.
So then if you don't use a stop loss and the stock that you invested by some chance goes down, do you dollar cost average and lower the cost, or do you do your research again to make sure that your theory is correct? Or what do you do when your stock that you invested goes down, I guess?
Well, what I do when I make a mistake, I do more and more and more research to see if I'm right or wrong. And sometimes it becomes very clear that I made a mistake and I just have to take the loss. It's not not my ideal, but that's what I do. I re-examine and re-examine, and sometimes I re-examine and do more work and buy more. It just depends on what I find when I do more and more research to see what's wrong.
After the COVID crash and the housing bubble popping in China, lately there has been some well-known investors investing in Chinese stocks. I was wondering about your thoughts on the Chinese market these days, and if you see the Chinese market recovering, and also if you have any interest or investments in the Chinese stocks as well at this point.
Well, the Chinese market is one of the few markets where I'm looking these days. As you point out, it is down. It has a big problem, and therefore there might be opportunities. I am looking. I don't have an answer for you yet, but it's one of the few places that I am looking for in new investments because it's one of the few markets that's down. I know why it's down. We all know why it's down. That doesn't mean it's the bottom, but maybe we're getting closer. It seems to me that the Chinese market is making a bumpy bottom, like many bottoms in many markets. So I'm looking, but I don't have an answer yet.
Would there be other sectors that you are keeping an eye on additional to the Chinese market?
Well, the things that got hurt the worst. That's why I usually try to start, travel, tourism, entertainment. These are the sort of things that got hurt a lot in China, but it depends on the bear market. Every bear market is different. What I try to do is find the things that are down a lot as a place to start looking. That does not always lead to an early answer or a quick answer, but that's where I start.
So then, is your portion of cash more than the portion of your investments at this point, or are you still, I would say, almost fully invested in the market or assets?
I have a lot of US dollar cash, and the reason the US dollar is a terribly flawed currency. It's going to lose its status as being the world's number one currency. I don't want to win, but my expectation is that when things get bad again, the US dollar is going to go up a lot because people need a safe haven. They think the US dollar is a safe haven for historic reasons. It's not. The US is the largest debtor nation in the history of the world, but it is still conceived or perceived as a safe haven. So my plan And who knows, but that is that the US dollar will go up a lot towards the end, and I hope I will be smart enough to sell. Now, the next question from you should be, where are you going to put the money? That's part of the problem. I cannot find yet a competitor to the US dollar. Something's going to compete with the dollar in the end. I don't know what yet.
Do you think that the cryptocurrency has any chance of being a global international currency as well, as you just mentioned?
Well, anything has a chance. Do I have investments in crypto? No, I do not see that there's any value at all, intrinsic or speculative. But Andrew, as you know, many people have made a lot of money trading cryptos. Again, I mean, every government is working on computer money. They want computer money. It's cheaper for them, easier to track. They know everything you do. They're all working on it. But I don't think that Washington one day is going to say, okay, this is now the money. But if you want to use that money, you can use their money too. You can use their crypto money. That's not the way these guys think normally, historically. So I don't see that coming. I do see computer money coming. It's already here in China. It's already here in some countries, but it's not U.S. policy yet.
I was wondering if there were any major indicators or signs or reports that you are keeping an eye on based on your experience in the investment world that you think would be the red flag for a beginning of a huge market correction or maybe the next market crash?
Well, at the end of all speculative boom, it's the same. Everybody you know is talking about the market. You go to the dentist and the receptionist wants to talk to you about stocks, because he or she is so excited about the investment world. And it's always because it's so new to them and they know it's easy. I mean, these things have been happening for hundreds of years, these speculative booms and hysterical periods. I hope that I will recognize out of control hysteria next time. I don't see out of control hysteria yet. I see a lot of absurd optimism, but I don't see the hysteria yet that's everywhere. I presume it will come. It often has. I hope if it comes, I'm smart enough to recognize it and I'm smart enough to act. I hope.
Just to wrap up this interview, I just wanted to ask if there was one thing that you would like to share with people that are beginners or who have not been in investing for a long time, what kind of advice would you give them? Thinking of them as your son or relatives, what kind of advice would you share with them?
Well, the main thing is this is not easy. If you start thinking it's easy, you better do some more work. And I guess the main answer to your question is only invest in what you yourself know a lot about. Don't listen to the TV, the internet, the friends at a party or a bar or something. You're going to hear a lot of hot tips. The worst thing you can do is invest in hot tips. Stay away from hot tips. Stay with what you yourself know a lot about. Don't listen to other people. Now, people will say, well, that's boring. Okay, be boring. If you want to be successful, if I told you you can only have 25 investments in your life, you would be very careful. You wouldn't listen to a lot of people and jump in and out every day, every week, every month. You'd be very, very careful. So I will say to you, new investors, all investors, please just stay with what you yourself know a lot. Please avoid hot tips. And the worst thing that can happen to you is you hear a hot tip, you invest and you make money. Then you think, oh my gosh, this is easy. And he knows what he's talking about. So you'll call him up a month from now, 6 months from now. You think he knows what he's doing. Please ignore and avoid hot tips from everybody. Maybe Andrew can give you hot tips, but most people you should stay away from.
Well, thank you very much for that advice, Jim. So again, I think we went through a lot of topics today, but I want to thank you very much for your time and your great insights as always. And I would love to have you as a guest again in the later part of 2024 to learn from your insights again at that period as we see how the market plays out.
Okay, Andrew, let's do it again sometime. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Be careful.
All right, I will.
Very, very careful. Be worried and be careful.
All right, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Bye-bye.